Hey everybody, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Ready to Die Fighting. This is part 2 of how bicycles can save the world. As promised, before I talked about how it's beneficial to your physical health. This time I'm going to talk about the benefits to mental health and why that's important. Alright, like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. I got my little notebook with my notes because it's, look, all these reasons why bicycles are amazing. Let's do this. So, mental health. As I said in the previous video, in case you didn't watch it, I believe that our lack of mental health is a really big contribution to so many problems that we have, at least here in the United States, but I imagine other places as well. You know, we suffer from addiction, from insomnia, there's road rage, there's riots and protests and school shootings and suicide and people dealing with all sorts of forms of anxiety and depression. There's just a lot. We have a lot of trauma. Just people in general have a lot of trauma because so many bad things happen. And traumatized people traumatize other people. And so it's very cyclical. When they talk about generational trauma, it's very, very real. The trauma that I have, I pass on to my son if I don't learn how to heal from it and deal with it. And the trauma that he has, he will pass on to his future children. And any relationship that I'm in, whatever trauma I have, I'm going to pass on to that person. Any encounter, you could potentially cause trauma to someone else because of the stuff that you haven't dealt with or I haven't dealt with. And we all do it. We all do it. You have a bad day, you're probably going to make someone else have a bad day. That's how it goes. And so if we're not dealing with our mental health or doing something to help it, it's just going to compound and get worse and worse and worse. And we're going to keep hurting other people. And then we get into situations like we are in now, where everybody's at each other's throats. And everyone's, we're so polarized. And we're so angry and just, it's not good. It's not good at all. How can a bicycle help with this? Glad you asked. Let me tell you. I've got some reasons here. First off, riding a bike is fun. It's hard to be mad and grumpy and sad if you're having fun. It's fun. If you think about when you were a kid riding a bike, the wind in your hair, sun shining on you, going fast up and down hills, maybe going on a jump, hanging out with your friends. It was very liberating. It was fun. It was cool, especially if you had a cool bike, which sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. It's a good time. That's just good for you. It's good to have fun. It's good to laugh. There are a ton of groups, especially, I don't know about other places, but certainly in Metro Detroit, there's a lot of slow roll groups. And we've joined a couple of them, and these people will meet up, and everybody puts like lights on their bikes. A lot of times they'll have a radio and music, and we'll ride around and maybe stop at a restaurant or an ice cream shop, or sometimes we do like Taco Tuesdays, and it's just community and fun and getting out and seeing the city. I've seen parts of the city that I normally wouldn't when I'm driving, or just everyday life. Because bikes can go where cars can't. So it's fun. You're having fun. You're exploring. You're going slower so you can actually look around. You can experience things. You can smell the roses, as they say. And all of that's going to be really good for your mental health. As I said in the previous one, just being outside, getting that fresh air, getting that sunlight, that vitamin D, that does wonders for your mental health. It's really hard to be outside in nature and be upset, and be mad. You might be able to still be depressed or anxious, but it's going to help. It really does. As someone who's struggled with depression and anger and other things, it's hard to be mad on a bike ride. It really is. It releases endorphins. I would say any workout does that, realistically, but riding a bike it's a very low stress way to get that endorphin rush. Those are those feel good chemicals and hormones that kind of just make you like, yeah, this is nice. The rhythmic, repetitive motion of cycling can be meditative. It's relaxing. They show that it's easy to just zone out, and some people do use it as meditation and just kind of reflect on, on the inside, or just get lost in that pedaling tempo or cadence, or whatever you want to call it. That's something I've definitely experienced. You kind of just out there, especially if like this just flat road and you're just going, it just kind of becomes pedal, 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 and just kind of zone out and relax. And it does feel very meditative. We're just going to help you relax, calm down, maybe work through some thoughts and feelings and whatnot. Let's see. Kind of worried about road rage and things like that you might experience in a car. You're not really going to experience on a bike. It's entirely possible that, if you're in an area that's not safe, maybe it could be stressful. But if you're in a safe area, if there are bike lanes, if you're in a culture where cycling is generally accepted, and, they're not going to be honking their horns at you and trying to run you off the road, it's going to be far less stressful than driving. You don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about getting a speeding ticket or having insurance and your license, any of that type of stuff. You can just ride and be calm, see the sights, get the fresh air, the sunlight, see the nature, and actually seeing other people, which is kind of the tie into this mental health and social sense of community. Bike is really going to help improve that. People who ride bikes are more likely to frequent local businesses, which is good for your community, which is going to help you build relationships, going to help you interact with people. When you're riding your bike, you can actually see people. You can talk to people. Countless times, people will see us, especially when we're in a group, they honk their horns, they wave at us, they talk to us. Me and Nate, we actually found this bike group that we're in because we were on a bike ride. We saw them on a bike ride, and we just joined them. We were like, hey, who are you guys? What are you doing? And we just joined them. And next thing you knew, we were in part of a bike group. And made new friends. If you look at a person in a car, they're kind of in a metal box and they're isolated. They are probably listening to the radio. A lot of times they're by themselves. Maybe other people are there, maybe not. And if you're behind a car or in front of a car, you can't even see the person really. It's like, that car cut me off. That car, they're driving like an idiot. That car's going too fast. It's almost not even a person. When you're on a bike, when you see someone on a bike, they are undeniably a human. You can see their face, you can see their expressions, you can see their body type, how they're dressed, their body language, everything. And you can't say that bike is a jerk. That doesn't even make sense, right? It's like, you see that person. You can't deny that they're a human. And I think that, I'm not going to say it's completely cars' fault, but cars make it really easy for us to isolate and not be part of a community. Whereas bikes completely open that up. So many times we're riding our bikes and, so especially if I bring the dogs with me and like the dog is running alongside, people think it's cool. They think it's cute. They'll, going along at a slow pace, you actually have time to talk. I'm riding along and they're like, oh, that's cool. Your dog is so cute. How'd you teach her how to do that? And, I can answer back. You can have that whole conversation without even stopping because you're not going that fast. And your face and everything is exposed. You're open. You're open to communicating with other people around you. And that is going to do wonders for your mental and social health, and to help us build that sense of community that we maybe used to have before, but in our modern lifestyle we've gotten away from. And so, like, as I said in the previous video, I think a lot of our problems is that we have this sense of other, and we don't trust people, and we're not communicating with each other. And I think the pandemic has made that even worse. And getting a part of a cycling community, that's going to help. I think it's going to help a lot with that sort of thing, to help us interact more. I can't remember if I mentioned in the other video, but cycling is also really accessible. And maybe this fit more in the physical. I can't remember if I said it or not, actually. But it's really accessible. There's a lot of things that you can do to accommodate, people who maybe normally couldn't get out because of a disability. You can get a tricycle style, even an electric tricycle. And I've seen people in our group, elderly people, who you wouldn't think would be able to ride a bike, can ride 15 miles with us because they're on a tricycle style bike, so they don't have to worry about falling and getting hurt. And they're electric, so they can go the distance. And it can work within your capabilities. So people who maybe normally wouldn't be able to get out, and in my experience with the elderly and like senior citizens, a lot of times it's really easy for them to become lonely if they're not in a good community with somebody looking out for them and being around them. It's, you're not working, you're not in school, the kids have moved across the state or whatever. It's sometimes they do get trapped and get this lonely lifestyle that can be really depressing, and you lose your will to live type of thing. And getting into that type of community where you're getting outside, getting around other people, that's going to just do wonders for you. And it's not, it's more inclusive than you think. It's not, I would say even more so than cars. Like, you might not be old enough to ride a car, or maybe your vision's not good enough to drive a car. Or should I not ride a car? Drive a car. You might not be old enough. Or your vision might not be good enough. Or you might have a disability that makes it that you're not safe to drive a car. Or maybe your nerves are bad and you don't want to. You can ride a bike. You don't need very much for it. So that's part 2 of why I think bikes can save the world. Physical health, mental health, social health. Next video is going to be the environmental impact. Or no, sorry, cost. Cost is the next thing. Economic impact. So like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can see when that comes out. And I will see you guys in the next video.